All right, so here we are working on our stream. You can see I've got right here, I've got a bucket. We just trimmed our cottonwood trees, and we kept some of the nicest trimmings that we could find when we went ahead and cleaned off the cottonwood trees up at the headquarters there. And I'm down in the creek area, and behind me you can see the result of really what amounts to probably over 100 years of just incredible erosion. Just if you saw erosion V1, which was our first video, we talked about how this happens. This is at least 12 feet of erosion, and what we're going to do about it is kind of a multi-step process. We have the creek down here. You can see it flowing behind me. There's little tiny trout hanging out in there and all that sort of a deal. So what we have to do is we have to stop the erosion. And the way we do that is we have a 100-year plan. Yes, it'll be complete long after I'm gone. But that's what it takes, is you got to have this long vision, and that's what we try to develop here. So the first thing we'll be doing is we'll be putting in beaver analog dams, which are dams that appear, that mimic what a beaver would do. There is no habitat here to support a beaver. We are planting that simultaneously with the dams. We're putting in cottonwood and willow trees all along the creek bed here. And this is step one, is we basically just take a tractor down here. We got a post hole digger on the back. You can see I've got a manual post hole digger right here on the skid of the tractors, and we're just literally going to put saplings in all over down here and try to get as many of them as we can to survive. We look for a plateau, what they call a terrace. Those are the floodplains. There are a number of them. You can see years and years and years ago, when the creek was higher and it hadn't been cutting through and creating all this erosion, you can see different levels behind me of terraces where the floodplains were for the creek. So this is what the creek is down to now, and it's because we have no absorption capability at all in here. That's because we lost the beaver. We lost all the habitat that goes with the beaver. They won't survive in a place where there's nothing for them to eat. Hence the planting of the cottonwood and the willows. The other thing we'll do is, like I said, we'll put in these beaver analog dams, which basically we look for a ripple in the creek. You can see we got a ripple here. And then we try to think like a beaver, and we go upstream of the ripple until it's just smooth, and we'll put in a dam. And what'll happen is, over time, the water will slow, and all the sediment that's in the water will deposit, and effectively over 100 years we'll basically build this back in. It'll take us about 5 to 7 years of beaver analog dams, and then eventually we'll be able to introduce our first beaver, and then our first sets of beavers, and then from that point forward the beavers take it from there. They should have the habitat growing, they should have all the cottonwoods growing in and the willows growing in, and that'll give them something to eat. And then of course they'll have a slow moving stream. They'll have a place where they can build their dams, and we can stop putting in beaver analog dams at that point. But we expect probably to have maybe 45 or 50 dams along this creek here. And over time, this entire thing will get rebuilt, and this creek will be back to healthy status, which is a slow-moving creek that can't cut through the ground and take all the topsoil with it. And it'll move slow, and it'll deposit the silts and the topsoils back down into this area where we want it. I'm standing probably, oh gosh, 30 feet below the base elevation of the base camp ranch. So we got about 2.5 miles of creek we're going to be in repair. So check back with me in 100 years. I don't know, but yeah, come on out and see it. It'll take a long time for it to happen, but that's what we need to do, is take a long vision. It took a long time to do the damage, so we're going to have to take a long time to get it repaired.